Hello, my name is Seth Villegas. I'm a lecturer within the Faculty of Computing and Data Sciences, and today I want to talk to you about collaborative research using natural language processing and large language models. Now, the traditional model of research is, could you think of it something like a lab? You have a chemistry professor who has maybe a chemistry postdoc, a PhD student who supervises chemistry undergraduate students. But does research actually need to work like this? What if the students have skills that they could actually offer to humanities faculty in order to inspire new kinds of projects? And so what I'm suggesting is a new model that looks something like this. We have a driving research question at the top. We have a professor who's offering a matter of subject matter expertise and a student team who can benefit from mentorship from a professor and provide technical expertise on a project back in order to collaborate on a research objective that wouldn't be possible without the other. So some examples of these things is we could consider a political science professor who's interested in reading Department of Defense contracts. Now there's an issue of scale here. There's simply too many contracts for any one person to read through. And you can imagine how mind-numbing it would be to actually read through thousands of such documents. But through a collaboration with BU Spark, which is an experiential learning lab here on campus, we can actually create a new kind of project in which we have a technical team which will be using natural language processing and large language models in order to summarize those documents and do other kinds of text processing in a way that's useful to a final project. Now, all the examples that I have here, many of them are made possible in part because of the Center for Innovation in Social Science and the Computational Humanities, Arts, and Social Science Initiative, and these new efforts for interdisciplinary ways of making research possible. One example of a project has to do with this generative AI in the classroom thing. So if we consider this generative AI policy and advice landscape, we might consider trying to build a pipeline. And the most advanced version of this could actually be automated, in which you scrape the internet into a document database. Then those documents in the database are then processed with the LLM, and then the LLM has a bunch of outputs which you can then use to do your research. Things like a semantic network, a topic model, actual text summaries of the documents, and then finally a task force report. And this was inspired by a real initiative by the AI task force and the report that they put out last year. And my part in this was actually as a postdoc, which was my position last year in helping to manage the student team in the first phase of one of these projects. And I want to highlight that the text summaries here are especially useful if you're a researcher who wants to basically dictate where you should be spending your time. What are the most important documents that I should be looking at? And it can be useful just to have a short 2 to 3 second synopsis of what each of these projects look like. Now, an example of this byproduct is the Guy-Paul topic model. And this is something that you can actually look at. Say if you want to look at during the tap hour, you can find an example of Guy-Paul on the SAIL website. And it looks something like this. And unsurprisingly, especially related to our last couple of presentations, we can notice that most of the documents that are actually being written in relationship to generative AI are about students and about their use of AI and concern about what's going on in a classroom and all the things like that. And this is very important because if we're going to be thinking about how to build the best possible recommendations for our students and how to be accountable for them, we want to process all of these ideas that are in the air. And if, say, people all around the United States and all around the world are creating documents, but nobody's reading them, then they aren't as helpful as they could be. So AI is just one way that we can start to incorporate all of these things into our larger corpus and then synthesize that and make it usable for all of us here in this room. Thank you.